Did it go on Facebook or no?
It looks like it did.
Good.
I want to check against. Can I use your phone to check the platforms?
Say again?
I'm going to use your phone to check the platforms.
Okay.
You're live, right?
I am live. Yeah, I'm live. I know that I'm here. I'm just cleaning off my glasses, and we're checking last minute to make sure we're live on all of the platforms. None of you, we don't want any of you to miss this. This is so cool. It's the best place to be if you're a business owner or thinking about being a business owner or wanting to make some money on there. Good? Golden. Say again?
LinkedIn's good.
LinkedIn. Cool. We are good. Tell me where you guys are coming in from. Let me know as we get started. Let me know. Cool. Awesome possum. Oh, wait. Are we on the first slide? Nope. We're halfway through the presentation. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Saturday morning. What's up? Danny Torres in the house. Julie and Bryce as usual. And let's see. Christopher Kaysen. Good to see everybody this morning. Golden? Oh, cool. Checking one more thing. Production. Costa Rica. What the hell are you doing in Costa Rica, Danny Torres? I can only imagine. That's like we're the land of magic. Those of you that don't know Danny Torres, want to follow him. He's got some great ways to fix you. Cured himself of melanoma, or no, not melanoma, leukemia. I knew it was one of those. But anyways, good to see you guys. Great to be here. Oh, I went and moved that. All right, cool. So let's get started. Welcome to those of you that are new to the show. I am Jason Cisneros. Hey, babe.
Yeah.
This thing. Oh, never mind. I fixed it. Cool. Those of you that are, let me start that over again, okay? Welcome. I am Jason Cisneros. I am the host of the Built to Exit podcast that we do here Saturday, every single Saturday, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we've been traveling around the country all over the place. We've been in all the different time zones and et cetera, but we are home. We've been home this week and it's been really, really beautiful. We love South Carolina, just getting off the plane, feeling the air, being able to go, hit the beach and all that kind of stuff. We really, really love it here. Always good to be home. And just wanted to welcome everybody. I'm Jason Cisneros, the host of the Built to Exit podcast. This is where my production team can start right here instead of over and over. Good to see you all, Patrick Dickerson. And what we do, for those of you that are new, what we do is we talk about business. And I thought about, it was interesting, I was having a conversation this week over the content of what we put out. So if you're brand new and you want to know, what am I getting myself into? Is this another self-proclaimed guru, blah, blah, blah? The answer is no. And here's how it was explained to me. That, Jason, 90% of the people that are out there, because we have a premise at Built to Exit, that everybody exits how matters. Now, 90% of companies won't see their 10th birthday, which means that those 90% are excluded from exiting in a positive way, what we call a custom tailored exit. There's three types of exits. There's the involuntary exit, which is where you go out of business, you make a mistake, you run out of cash, you have a health issue, you have to close down, you pass away at your desk. Okay, those are all the involuntary exits. We want to avoid those by like the plague. But 90% of businesses historically will not see their 10th birthday, so 90% of those businesses move over into a category called involuntary exits. Now, of the remaining ones that stay in business, only about 7, depending on where you get your data from, 7 to 10% of those are going to ever sell. Okay, and so in those areas, there's another kind of exit, which is dictated exit, which basically you sell because you have to. It's like You waited too long. You're like, oh, I'll sell someday. And then that day comes and it's forced on you. Again, health issues, timing issues. You're just tired of your business, etc. Those types of things. That is called a dictated exit. I've had both of those, by the way, involuntary 3 right in a row. Bam, bam, bam. Just so you know that you're not talking to somebody who says he walks on water and has made no mistakes. I've made all the mistakes. I've made all the mistakes. I'm glad I'm on the other arc of that, though. It's a much better place to live is being on the other side of that. I've also had a dictated exit where somebody came in. I didn't know what I was doing. I thought, I've got a business worth selling now. And then I sat down across the table from somebody who had bought multiple businesses and they kicked my ass, right? Paid me about half of what it was worth. Took me 3 years to get the money. I didn't know what I was doing. So I vowed to myself, right? Vowed to the gods above. I said, I will never, ever sit down at a table. If I'm going to build a business, I'm going to build it to exit. Okay. That was my core belief. And that's the core belief of the group of people that are now following the Built to Exit process, following this podcast. And, and when I made that vow, I just started saying, okay, well, how do people buy businesses? Look, the core of what we do, you would do an assessment of your business because you are where you are based on your best knowledge. Very simple, shouldn't be offensive to anybody. If it is offensive to you, then at some point you're going to mature to a place where you're going, oh, I really like that, right? I am where I am because of my best thinking, my cash flow, my employee count, my employee satisfaction, my customer count, my my retirement, all of that stuff. You are where you are. I am where I am based on my best thinking. And so you get out of that assessment, you go find yourself somebody who has done what you want to do, has the lifestyle you want to get, all of the fortune cookie bullshit you've heard from other gurus a million times. But you get past that, now you get into optimization. You optimize the tool called your business for cash flow for you while you own it. You want to pull as much free cash flow as you can off the table for you to be able to fund your freedom. Again, very simple once you actually get into it and it's not confusing and you're not trying to be woo-wooed and it's like the moon has to align with the stars and the stars all have to align with the Milky Way and then a magical bolt comes down from Zeus and it just blesses you that you are successful in business. That's all bullshit. It's very simple, right? It's very simple. There is a model. Being a merchant has been around for thousands and thousands of years. What works in business to optimize your cash flow is very simple. Like there's lots of models. You can use B2X. You can reach out to us to get help. But there's a lot of people that can help with optimizing your business. On the other side of that is building what's called enterprise value. Okay, much different than building cash flow, much different than building, in your business. It's much different because you're satisfying a direct customer need. Say you've got you clean toilets, okay? You're satisfying that need, but on the other hand, you're building enterprise value by having systems and processes and making sure that you're not needed in the business, and and making sure that you've got your relationship to your customer, your financial deal, you've got your exit plan in place, you've got your pro forma adjusted EBITDA, you've got all of these things because you know at some point in time, if you're smart, that everybody exits how matters. So you're going to pre-plan that as part of your journey. Enjoy your business. Love it all you want. Run it for 30 years if you want to. But build it to exit starting today. Now, with all that to be said, we end up with back to this conversation that I was having this week, which is 90% of you are not my customer. Okay? If you own a business, period, right? If you're one of the 33 million that are in the SME world, 0 employees to 499, you're you're going to be able to benefit from what I talk about. You're going to hear things, bits and pieces that will help you with your cash flow. But remember the statistics: 90% of businesses are not going to see their 10th birthday because they don't do the work, right? They don't put the systems in place. They don't get the education. They just do what they do, and then they disappear, and somebody comes in and takes that customer base and moves on, right? And so of the 10%, less than 7, like around 10% of those ever sell. And of those that do sell, 50% of those or so fall apart post-close. So my target base, my customer base is very, very narrow, right? It's the people that are going to do what it takes to get the right assessment. That means they need to be humble, and they need to invest in their education. Then they've got to go through optimization, which is going to point out a whole bunch of shit that's going to offend them because they think they should know it, but they don't know it. And they're going to make all kinds of excuses, and they're just not going to change behavior to optimize. And then after optimization, you actually go into what's called pre-due diligence, right? In other words, you run yourself through, we've got a training and a methodology foundation-wise to optimize, but then also we've got a what's called the gauntlet, which is pre-due diligence. And in pre-due diligence, you set up your business for your ideal buyer step by step by step so that when they come in to do due diligence, it's very fast, and you control 3 things: price, terms, and timing. Those 3 things. That's it. The custom-made, the custom-tailored exit is based on doing that, and those 3 things. So going through those 3 phases and then being able to emotionally and psychologically make that transition into what we call the horizon, which means you've sold your business and now you're riding off into the horizon of another business, charity that you wanted to start, circumnavigating the world with your wife or whatever, those types of things. Those are my people. And so most of you aren't those people. I get it. Like, I understand. I wasn't that people for a long time. It took me a long time. I'm 53, getting ready to be 54 years old. And I got to tell you, I was ignorant for a lot of those years. And that's okay. Eventually, you'll get to a place and you'll know that we're here. You'll know that we're one of the very few sell-side advocates out there. You'll start to see, oh my gosh, the greatest opportunity in our life probably for the next 7 years is private equity buying businesses that are properly prepared. But until then, there's no pressure. I'm not selling anything to you because most of you are not the right ones to sell to. And this was the conversation that I was having in the epiphany that I had, because I'm always like, I don't do my show to make money. I don't do my show to make sales. I do my show because God blessed me with the unique ability to be able to teach while we do, right? Teach while we do. Currently, we have verticals in medical. We have personally, my wife and I, we own businesses in tech. We own businesses in medical. We own businesses in cannabis. We own businesses. We have of all of those combined, I don't know, somewhere around 1,000 employees that are working with us, not much less the B2X team. We got a lot going on. And so the last thing that I need to be doing is putting together a funnel to psychologically trick somebody who's never going to do this shit in the first place. That's the last thing I want to do. Therefore, you will see that there's been 0 advertising for Anton J, which is our consulting company, and that which Built to Exit is a division of. There's been 0 advertising because of this. This is, you guys talk to each other and you're like, hey, you know what? You really want to sell your business? I think, B2X is the place to go. Built to Exit. There's a guy, bald guy, this crazy guy. He does a show every Saturday. You can go watch. You can judge him for yourself. You could do all the stuff and decide if that's the path that you want to go down. So I start the show out today because that's a really great epiphany, not only for me and my team and my business, but for you, the watcher. You're probably not my customer, right? But you can benefit with no risk to you from the conversations that we have here. over the next couple of months, I've got some amazing interviews coming from real business owners that we've either helped, are currently helping, and talking about their journey. I've been watching some of the clients that we've worked with over the years prepping up for sale. They're being sold. I just saw one of our clients that just sold. Ran into him in Hawaii, got a thank you in front of my kids. That was kind of cool. He come up and he goes, got to tell you, your dad, there's no way we would be here. He was there at the same resort, which is definitely not cheap. He goes, we wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for your dad and the stuff that he taught us. That was kind of cool. But all of that to be said, that relax, put your wallet away, and every single episode that you watch, go back through the old episodes, and be here on Saturday, because here's the benefit to you. We go from here over to Twitter on X right now. That seems to be the best platform for us to have like a little radio show interaction, right? This place called Spaces. So if you go to @TheJCisneros, 5 minutes after I close up here, there's a bunch of people that go over there that are business owners. They've been following me for years. Some of them are brand new. We talk about their wins for the week. We talk about what's going on in their businesses, AI, all the problems that they're going through, all of that stuff. We talk about it for, half an hour to an hour, however long it takes. And you get to know people. And these people are actually doing business with each other, which is the point. I want the Built to Exit community to not be worried about being sold the next biggest thing on the horizon. If it's right for you, you're going to know it's right for you. And if it's not, you can come here, learn some cool shit, and make yourself better for you and your family, and meet some really cool people that are on the same journey as you are, so that we can be connected. The biggest group, the most powerful group of human beings on the planet is us, merchants, specifically SMEs, small, mid-sized enterprises. That's the designation. Why are we so powerful? Because just in the United States, we run about 60% of the GDP. That's $17 trillion. That's some power. But you know why we don't have power is because we don't hang out with each other. Right? We're busy doing the thing that we do for a business. We've got families. I'm not judging anybody. I'm not saying that there's not a reason for it, but we must band together at a little higher level so that we can stand up when, a government who's full of idiots and, and attorneys that have never owned a business. They don't know about payroll. They don't understand that this is the driver of financial freedom. It's the driver of economic liberty. They don't understand that. All they give a shit about is getting power and being able to make money by skimming it off the top. All money, in my opinion, is generated by merchants. It's generated by us. What else pays the taxes? Nothing. It's you. It's me. It's all of us combined, and we haven't band together to be able to say, hey, we're not non-essential, right? We're 60% of the GDP, assholes. So anyway, that being said, let's get into the content. So here's what happens. Sometimes I go on a long soliloquy like that at the beginning. Sometimes I don't. But there's always some content that you can use for your business week after week after week. We take something out. Like I said, when we've got almost 1,000 employees, we've got all those different verticals. I am currently, and my team is currently solving real world problems today in our businesses, for our customers, for our clients, with our partners, with our JVs, all of a sudden, we're currently solving all of this shit. So we talk about the things that are slapping you in the face right now and give you a different alternative or a different way to look at that. Okay. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to jump in and we're going to talk about the solving of problems, okay? 7 questions that most business owners never ask because they're too busy. This too busy concept is what I want you to focus on. If those words, train yourself to never use that phrase again. you'll be like, well, but Jason, I am busy. Like I got to pick up the kids. I got my spouse that I need to meet for dinner. I've got friends. I've got weddings to go to. I'm running my business. I have 15 employees. I have 60 employees. I've got this function and that function and dysfunction all around, right? But remember that if you can eliminate the phrase too busy or I'm busy, if you can eliminate that phrase, now you are coming up with solutions. You're coming up with a different way to handle things. I'm not busy. I'm just misappropriating my time. Whenever I get a phone call from somebody or whenever I'm dealing somebody with business, and I hear them say, oh, I missed the call or I'm late for the call or I got to change our appointment because I'm just so busy. It kind of puts them on the back burner for me because that means that they haven't come to the real conclusion, which is never, ever, ever show, your weakness when you're in front of people doing business with them. Never show that. You might be busy. You might have a lot of shit going on. But to me, what that means is that you lack the common ability to be able to prioritize and to be present in the moment. Most business, most deals happen in the present, right? I'm present with you. I'm not currently, one thing you can say about all of my videos and when I'm on stage and when I'm on podcasts, I am 100% here with you. I'm not thinking about what's going on this afternoon. I'm not thinking about what we're doing at the beach later. I'm not thinking about what my trip is next week. I'm not thinking about an argument that I may have had with a friend. I'm not thinking about any of that shit. I'm thinking about you. I'm thinking about this moment, and you can do the same. And if you're doing that and you're spending time in the present, then what you will do is you will never use the phrase to anyone because all it is a cry for help to people who don't give a shit enough to be able to help you. It's a cry for help. I'm busy. It's a cry for help. It's an uneducated, immature response to stimuli that's going on in your world. Not to be a dick, but to tell you, stop using the phrase. Stop using it. Be present and you will figure out how not to be busy. You'll figure out how to be productive. And so, boy, if I spend this much time on every slide, we're going to be here for 17 days together. So 7 questions most business owners never ask because they're too busy surviving to step back and design. So let's blast through some of this stuff. Why can't I step away from my business without it falling apart? Okay. So, most business owners, founders confuse importance with indispensability. Your business has you as the engine, and that's not scalable or saleable. So what's the question? Why can't I step away from my business without it falling apart? Part of this, based on what we're talking about here, is the fact that subconsciously, unconsciously, you just haven't learned this lesson. When I say this stuff, it's not judgmental. I'm saying I went through the same exact phases. When I was like, nobody can do what I do. That was an immature version of Jason. Nobody could do what I do. And it's like, I'm the best. Like nobody could close like I close. And right. And that just meant that the business was completely dependent on me. To satisfy a very small, tiny, little, weak ego in myself, I said stupid shit. Like I'm so much important. I'm nobody better than me. If I train somebody to do this, nobody's going to do it as well as I am. I am indispensable. Okay. That was me trumpeting to the world how stupid I was. Now the business has you as the engine, and that's not scalable or saleable. Remember, this is for the concept that everybody exits how matters. So you need to build the exit. You need to custom tailor your exit. So our built to exit principle for you to apply to your business is time control equals owner independence. Okay. You're not going to go through the steps. You're not going to do, go through to build yourself to exit. That's cool. Just get your time back, right? Get your time back. And that means go back to what I just said. Look at where you feel like you're indispensable or the business would fall apart without you. Systemize it. Follow your own systems. Have somebody track you down. I've got an amazing team. Those of you that have been around me for a while know Carlos Chavez and Carlos Chavez has been my COO for 2 decades. Joe Callow, president of Built to Exit. He's been with me going on 12 years. Our CFO's 15 years. Like we've got a long-standing group of people that have been with us, and for the most part, Joe Callow has been really instrumental in pulling out of my brain systems and processes that I used to be egotistically tied to that said only Jason Cisneros could do that. Now I'm of a different mode. If I say that, I want to kick my own ass. I want to kick my own ass and say that I never want to hear that shit out of you again, Jason. But this is one of the things that you can work on is getting your time back. How do you get your time back? Right? How do you get it back? Is that you build systems, you build processes. Okay. Question number 2, why does my team still come to me for every decision? That's just a fork off of the previous question. Founder is a savior. I'm the savior. Dun 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 dun. It's like blah 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 blah. We use phrases because I've used them before in my life. We use phrases like, I've got a sales team and I've trained them and I've done all this stuff, but this is an important customer. And why would I put in Scottie Pippen when we got Michael Jordan on that thing? And I don't mean to offend. Scottie Pippen was awesome, but why would I put in a rookie? Let's put it that way, right? But why would I put in a rookie when we got Michael Jordan? And that was like, I'm the man. Like that kind of bullshit, right? Is the thing that is keeping your business and your stress levels and your profitability very, very low. Except for your stress level, very, very high. So there's no decision matrix and authority ladder. I'm not going to go into all of this. You guys can Google some of these phrases. 80% of business, there's nothing new under the sun, as they say. The 20% that we've made ours that is different about B2X, that's in our proprietary systems and how we build businesses, et cetera, et cetera. But the decision matrix and authority ladder, you can Google those things and start applying that into your business immediately. Okay. Built to Exit principle in this area is build a leadership team and SOPs, not dependence. It's a very big mistake that people make. We're in the middle of unwinding one of those right now, which is I know a guy, right? I know a guy. And we'll get to that later on. But this is one of the challenges is that if you build a team and you haven't gone to the end of your end game is what we talk about a lot here. If you haven't gone to your end game and designed where you want the machine to take you, then you can't reverse engineer and develop the machine that is going to take you there. You can't. It doesn't happen that way. So you want to build a leadership team in SOPs, not dependence. Again, Google SOPs. Google building a leadership team. Watch our videos on these subjects, SOP subjects and leadership teams and all that kind of stuff. Number 3, why am I still stuck doing low value tasks? Okay. Subconscious sabotage, right? This is one of those things that I see a lot. You start to change. There's these different episodes. There's these different levels of development of your business because business is just a bunch of people and people need to be developed because if your thinking has gotten you where you are, your thinking has to change to get you to a different place. Very simple concept, right? But when you start to see things change and you start to see, we see this from owners all the time. It's like, oh shit, the stuff that they taught us, it's actually working. I'm not needed as much. Some of my team has picked up the lead. A customer didn't call me directly. Oh, that hurt my feelings just a little bit because they called my machine and it worked and they got better service and blah, blah, blah. And so if you're not being led or guided by the right kind of a strategist along this path, you will revert. I reverted to this. I had a kick-ass team in one of my very first businesses that then spawned 2 other companies. I had a kick-ass team and they were doing a great job, but I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have somebody that was doing these kind of videos. I didn't have somebody that'd been through this shit before that was teaching me. I just went, oh, this feels bad to me. Unconscious. It wasn't like, I felt like I was some weak spined, it wasn't like that. But it happened naturally because I didn't know what was going on inside of me was a good thing. It's that the more successful you are, the less visible you are, the less people can find out all your shit, the more money that you can push into other places that nobody that is working for you while you sleep. The further you push yourself away from liability, et cetera, that's the game, right? Own your time, right? As Rockefeller said, you want to own nothing and control everything. That's smart, right? That's where you get to in the evolution of a business owner. Not that everybody needs to know me and they need to see my Lambo and they need to see my 14 houses and they need it. Great that you have that stuff. Right? Great. But if that is what's inspiring you to get followers and that's why your followers are following you, they're the wrong followers because they're in the game for the wrong reason. This is why I say most of you are not my client, because my clients know specifically that their end game is freedom. It's having a machine that creates cash that gives them freedom and choice. Otherwise, you are owned by your business. So that's why, again, most of you are not. When you come to that conclusion, now you'll be somewhere in the way of being our client. Okay. So the Built to Exit principle to go against that is only do what only you can do. Delegate, don't abdicate. Now, what does this mean? The difference between delegate and abdicate means that as I go, what's the thing that makes Jason Cisneros the most impactful in this area? Because I know a lot of shit. I'm good at a lot of areas. I'm good at finances. I'm good at operations. I'm good at sales and marketing. I'm good at culture. I'm good at a lot of shit. Okay. But what I want is for somebody to be able to take what I'm good at and be better at it. Right? That's true wealth building, true exit, true freedom building is to be able to take that out. Now, if I take it, I think about it consciously, which again, I tell you, Joe and Carlos and my team are really, really good at pulling that out of me. And I put that into a SOP. I put that into a training. And then we go to somebody and we say, okay, here's the outcome of why I hired you. And here's the methodology that I want you to start. Now you can improve it, right? You can improve it, but here's how you start. Now what I've done is I've delegated. And on the other side of that, those of you that are students of mine know we have a MIO session, which is the accountability. So we get feedback and we modify behavior. We get feedback and we modify behavior. But that is delegation. Abdication is, oh my gosh, I hate my finances. I know a guy, hey, cousin Vinny, come over here. I want you to go ahead and plop down in here. I know you know how to balance a checkbook. You're now my bookkeeper. You're now my CFO, right? Because you know numbers. And I know a guy. That is abdication. There's no outcome. There's no follow through. There's no accountability, there's no communication, and that ruins relationships. And that's why 90% of companies fail, because they don't understand proper sequencing. That's part of 20% of what we've done, not for the world at large, not to be the greatest guru that's filling up stadiums and shit, but for myself. For my wife, the companies that we still own, the businesses that I sold back in 2019, the businesses that we own and build and grow right now, right? The clients that we've brought through. Delegate, do not abdicate. If you hand off something to somebody without the end game and a framework of how to be successful, you failed, okay, as a leader. Why is our growth inconsistent? I got to speed this up a little because I think we got 7 questions. Why is our growth inconsistent even though we're busy? Because you mistake activity for momentum. I'm busy. Goes back to that word. I'm busy. I don't have time for you because I'm busy. It's mistaking activity. Just because you're busy doesn't mean you're doing shit. No data-driven decision making. You got to get some stuff there. So our built to exit principle is predictable growth is engineered. Those of you that have been following me for a while know that my nickname is the architect. I couldn't be anything further away from being an architect. My son, on the other hand, has an architect's mind, but I have figured out that to custom tailor my exits, I have to engineer where I want to go. I have to engineer from the beginning of what my assets are and the resources that I have to be able to build it to that. That is the architecting that I do. We've got architects on our team. We've got called strategists that can help you do the same thing if you happen to be going down that path. Now, why is hiring the right people still so hard? Because you hire reactively, under pressure, not proactively from a vision. There is a much different energy from when you go, I need somebody that can translate the behaviors of my business into numbers, interpret them, and then feed them back to me to say, change these behaviors so that those numbers change. Much different question than, I need a bookkeeper because I hate numbers and I don't want to balance my checkbook and blah, blah. Just one example. Many, many, many more if you jump into our community, okay? Built to exit principle, the right people follow clarity. You're weird. If you own the business, if you're that person, you're a weirdo, okay? Only 10% of us on the planet assign ourselves the identity of being a merchant. I use merchant old school because that's our bloodline. Entrepreneur, business owner. You can put in whatever word feels good for you in the moment, but the right people follow clarity, defined culture, training, and roles. That other 90% of the world needs structure. They need accountability. They need to be acknowledged and rewarded, not just with money, but they need to be rewarded with the idea that they need people that give a shit enough about them to be able to say, hey, if you come to work for me, what is your goals in life? I want to own a house, my first house or whatever. Okay, great. Here's how your position can help you do that. Here's how we can help it. That is called give a shit. I did a whole video on the give a shit algorithm. Okay. Next is, why can't I seem to get ahead financially? Mistaking revenue for wealth. You see this all day, every guru, every webinar that they're trying to sell you. I exited my business at $100 million. Bullshit. Yeah. Okay. There's maybe possibilities that it was a $100 million transaction, but you had 72 partners, you own 1%. The company had $150 million in debt, and it was absorbed by somebody that just took that monstrosity, and you walked away with zero. Thank God you don't have any pocket. Did you do it more than once? There's so many questions that I have for you. There's so many questions that you need to ask when somebody is telling you that they sold a company for $100 million and et cetera, et cetera. Most of it is bullshit. Okay. Most of it is bullshit. So understand that wealth is building a machine that produces a predictable return on investment without you having to be there for it. That's wealth, right? It's, you control everything, and you own nothing, the Rockefeller standard, right? There's ways to do that. There's intelligent ways. We're surrounded not only at B2X, Built to Exit really is a culmination of all of the strategies and relationships that I've built over the last 20 years doing what I help people do these days while we're doing it still currently today. And so you benefit. The people that work with us benefit from all of those years. So no profit strategy, poor margins, and blind reinvestment. Blind reinvestment is that's the biggest problem you have. There's a challenge, and I wasn't going to go into this, but I will dip my toe in this water. And if you want to talk about it in the after show, you can just come to @the Jay Cisneros on Twitter. And pinned at the top, you'll see the after party, the B2X after party, and you just click in and we'll have this conversation. But reinvestment is the excuse that we use for abdicating our responsibility for knowing what's going on with the finances. It's like, okay, I've got $100,000 in the bank, but we missed payroll, so I'm just going to take from that money. I'm going to reinvest it. No, what you did was you missed your outcome. There was sales that weren't made, or accounts receivable that weren't collected, or a myriad of things that went wrong. That if you had a 13-week rolling cash flow in place, you would have seen that coming and wouldn't have had to reinvest back in your business. You're not reinvesting. You're just piss poor cash management for your company. Maybe investigate there just a little bit, okay? Profit is a system. It's not an accident. Number 7, what's the end game? This is one of the most important things. It's also in the title of my new book that'll be coming out fairly shortly. But the founder is too in love with the game to ask if they're winning. No destination equals no alignment equals no freedom. Again, if you're my client, you've realized at some point in time, or if you are my target audience, then you've realized already everybody exits. That means we're all everybody, how matters. And at the end of the day, you're seeking to achieve your freedom, and that freedom has a price. Okay? So being in love with the game, I understand. I'm here on a Saturday morning when I could be literally anywhere else in the world. I'm here every single Saturday, even if I'm traveling or if I'm doing whatever. I'm in love with this game. I'm in love with you, my family, who call yourselves merchants, who have to go up against unbelievable odds all the fucking time. And that's why I love it. There's so much grit in the personality of just one merchant that shows up in our B2X after party on Twitter, right? There's so much grit with the phone calls that I get. I just talked to a young man out of Boston who I just happened to meet on a trip somewhere, and we were talking in the pool, and he's like, blah, 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 and he's like, I'm young, what do I do? And I'm like, oh my God, those are my people. You're my people. And so the idea is be in love with the game, but understand the rules to winning the game are freedom. That's the rule. That's the objective, right? If you got into football and you're just like, I don't know what the rules are. I'm just going to go out here and run around and get hit by big people, and there's no plays and there's no downs and there's no rules and there's no all this other kind of shit. You're just going to get beat up for no reason. Exactly what happens in business. You get beat up for no reason because you don't understand the objective of the game you're playing. First, survival. No beef with anybody who's in that mode right now, because that is the first level of business, is to survive another day so that eventually you can get to a place where you can think about building to exit, or even taking a day off, or being able to pay for that thing while you started your business in the first place. So no judgment. There is a graduation. We just want to help you get through that quicker, okay? If you don't define your exit, somebody else will. Oh, I wish that, if nothing else came from today's podcast, I hope you take this one to heart, okay? I hope you look at this one and you go, if you don't define your exit, somebody else will. I hope you take this one to heart. Because you could probably look where you are right now, and you could probably identify at least 50% of where you are, and where you happen to find yourself right now is because somebody else, their expectations, a key employee, a spouse, a mom, a dad, an uncle, society, but if you get nothing else, you are the one that is in control of your journey, and that's between you and God. You know what you're supposed to do with this life. You know what you're capable of. God doesn't put an idea on our hearts and without correspondingly giving us the tools to be able to achieve it, right? And so for all of you for all of you, there's something unique about you that I can't do, that your neighbor can't do, that your competition can't do. There's something about you that we can't do. And if you systemize that in the service of other human beings, now you have nailed the parable of the talents in the Bible. You have nailed ethical capitalism. You have nailed being a merchant. There's no taxes, there's no libraries, there's no schools, there's no country, there's no president, there's no capital, there's no roads, there's no bridges, there is no airplanes, there's no airports, there's no restaurants, there's no clothes, there's no nothing without us. And there's only 10% of us that are doing this shit. So gather here, start your own group, be part of another group. I don't really give a shit. It's not about you being with me and me tricking you through all these funnel things and having sudden epiphanies like I'm the best thinker on the face of the planet, spouting new shit with real low and concerned voices looking right into the camera to get you to really believe, oh my God, he's so deep, he's so profound. No, this shit is hard. This shit is hard, and it only is full of people who know it's hard and that don't bullshit each other, right? That if you're a merchant, you've changed the world. You're the only ones that are going to change the world. We're the ones that are in control, not in control, but we are influencing the things that are being done, including AI. That is all merchants along the way. That's nobody else. It's merchants. They may look like nerds right now that are computer scientists and blah, 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 but they're giving us tools. The merchants that aren't computer nerds, right? They're giving us tools to be able to apply just like they have throughout history. The best thing that we can do is come together, okay? I don't give a shit if you ever spend a dime with me. But get this point. Find other business owners to combine with. Find other business owners to communicate with. Find mentors to teach you how to do what you do better, because you are crucial to this world, crucial to your family, crucial to your religion, crucial to the next generation. Okay? So, I don't know. Do we got more slides? Fire starting, blah, 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 blah. B2X, built2x.biz. You can go there. There is my team is going to put a paywall on the assessment that we have at built2exit.biz in the next 2 weeks. So you're going to want to get over there. This is something that it's an assessment that we've used with people that $50,000, I think, was the minimum before. If they pay that for us to do work with them, then they get the assessment. You've got it for free for the next couple of weeks, and then it's going to cost you a little something. It's not going to be too bad, but go over there, take that, reach out to us. Please join us in the live conversation. This is the whole point, right? Is just take a few extra minutes, 15, 20 minutes, and just come hang out with us, introduce yourself. People that are in there, they will do business with you. You'll do business with them. And that's really all I want from this group. I love you all very much. I am Jason Cisneros. This has been an amazing Saturday. I love you all. Thank you for everybody who's watching on every single deal. My team has been able to get this out on YouTube and LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter and all of the places. So thank you so much for giving me a piece of your weekend. From everybody at B2X Corporate, thank you for your time. Thank you for your trust. Hope to see you over on Twitter. And if not, we'll see you right back here next Saturday. Make sure that you share this show if it was important or you know somebody that will benefit from it. Share the show with them. But for me and the entire family at Built to Exit, I love you. I'm proud of you. I'm super, super glad that you happen to be part of this crazy community called being a merchant, an entrepreneur, and a business owner. We'll see you next Saturday, 9 a.m., same bat channel, same bat place. Peace.